Hey y'all, Lysandra Everett here from ETS Tax Relief. And listen, I got to tell you about this. Okay, so it came out on Monday that Todd and Julie Chrisley have been sentenced to 12 years and 7 years in prison, and followed by supervised release. Okay, so I've been watching this since they were indicted a couple of years ago, and I actually have that video over on my other channel, the Home Biz Tax Lady. Okay, so let's talk about this case because it's a lot. Like, it's really a lot. So first of all, let me say this: they committed fraud and they committed tax evasion, but the tax evasion was the secondary part, I think. But let's get through all of this because it's absolutely bananas. So it says that the Chrisleys defrauded financial institutions and the government through tax evasion and other fraudulent means in order to minimize their tax liability and to project an image of wealth. Okay, so Todd and Julie Chrisley conspired to defraud community banks in Atlanta by obtaining more than $36 million in personal loans. Them and their accountant. Their accountant got sentenced to 3 years in prison, but they submitted false bank statements, audit reports, and false financial statements to Georgia community banks to get these loans. Then they spent the money, okay, on all the things, the cars, the houses, the trips, and all of that. Basically walking around looking rich, okay? And so then it says that they also used new fraudulent loans to pay off old loans. Okay, fraud on fraud. And then they said after they spent all the money, then the Chrisleys filed bankruptcy and walked away with $20 million of these loans, okay, that they did not have to pay back. Whew, child, that's a lot already. That's even before they got the show. So then once they got the show, they operated a loan out company. So what a loan out company is, this is something that is designed for entertainment professionals. Essentially, they create a company, then hire the entertainer, and then the entertainer loans out their services. Oh, that's what a loan out company is. So it can be a corporation or whatever. So what they did is, to avoid paying taxes, they had the corporate accounts in Julie's name only. And then after they were busted, in asking for information on Julie's accounts, they transferred ownership to somebody else to try to hide the money. Now, hiding money from the government is tax evasion, which is illegal. That's not the same as taking tax deductions to reduce your tax liability. That's tax avoidance, which is legal. Hiding money from the government to not pay taxes is tax evasion, and that is illegal. Okay, so then they did not file tax returns for 2013 through 2016, and they didn't pay any taxes. And then as a part of the scheme, their accountant, Peter Tarantino, yeah, that's his name, Peter Tarantino, he filed 2 false corporate tax returns for the loan out company, claiming that the company earned no money and made no distributions in 2015 and 2016. Whew. Then it gets better. The Chrisleys tried to obstruct justice after being charged. Listen. Now, here's the thing about the government. Once you get indicted, they're going to watch you. They're going to watch everything that you do. So they attempted to obstruct justice because Julie submitted a fraudulent document in response to a grand jury subpoena to make it appear that the Chrisleys had not lied to the bank when they transferred the ownership of the loan out company's bank account to their relative. I'm telling you. So they were convicted on June 7th on all counts, including conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit tax evasion. Conspiracy is when there's 2 or more people involved in the plan. Okay? So if I just decide that I'm going to commit wire fraud, then there's no conspiracy. But if I then pull my husband or someone else into it, that's conspiracy. Okay? And so, yeah, so Todd Chrisley was sentenced to 12 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Julie has been sentenced to 7 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. And then Peter Tarantino was sentenced to 3 years in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. And Todd and Julie are going to have to pay restitution. God only knows what that's going to look like. So let's talk about what the issues are. And I think it's important for you to know this, because I think we get so comfortable with just signing papers and such, not really understanding the impact that signing your name on a false document really has. And we really talked about this with the PPP and the EIDL, because people were getting these fraudulent loans. They were just signing stuff. But when you sign a false loan application, that is a federal offense. Lying on a loan app is a federal offense. And you might think, oh, well, it's just the loan. No, it's not. Because when you think about it, let's say that I decide to grab a gun and go rob a bank. What's the crime? The crime is I robbed the bank. The fact that I used the gun, that's just extra, right? They robbed the bank. They just used paper instead of a gun. So they still robbed the bank, okay? That is the crime. When you lie and get money under false pretenses, you are essentially robbing the bank. So that's what they did. And then, when you're, the fact that they got new fraudulent loans to pay off. Oh, this is going to be an American Greed episode, y'all. I can't wait. Listen, and I'm going to tell you something. Chrisley Knows Best was my one guilty pleasure. That show was hilarious to me. I enjoyed it. I know it's a total guilty pleasure, but I totally enjoyed that show. It is what it is. But, but the thing about it is that then with the tax evasion piece, so not only did they not file or pay any taxes, but when you get money under false pretenses, it's stolen money. Stolen money is still taxable. So had they gotten this loan money and then claimed it as income and paid tax on it, then they could have avoided the tax evasion charge, right? But they still stole the money, but I'm just saying the tax evasion part. So just know that, and especially again in the age of people getting fraudulent EIDL loans, fraudulent PPP loans, and getting the PPP loans forgiven. That is, if it's fraudulent, you need to count it as income, because that will at least help you avoid the tax evasion charge. The fraud is still there. The fraud happened when they lied on the forms. So it wasn't that they got the money. The fraud happened when they lied on the form. And then when they're, moving these bank accounts around to try to hide the money, that was also a crime. So yeah, this is bananas. I knew they were gonna go to jail, okay? But I was really expecting them to get some kind of 2-year, 3-year type of prison sentence. This 12 years for Todd and 7 years for Julie really shocked me. But also looking back at how far back their fraud goes, it's a fair sentence. Like when I, follow I'm a geek like that. I follow the Department of Justice, and I see these cases of financial fraud where people go to jail, and they usually get sent to jail about 3 years per million on average. I am not an attorney, none of that stuff, but just from what I've read, when these people get sentenced. So the sentence is fair, as far as what I've seen in the in the cases that I've read about. But the other thing is they still got to deal with the state. They're still going to have to deal with the state of Georgia on these on this money, because there's the federal crime. if they didn't file and pay federal taxes, they probably didn't file and pay state taxes either. So they're still going to have to deal with the state of Georgia. So even after they get out of these 12 years and 7 years, they still might have some prison time dealing with the state of Georgia. I don't know. I'm just saying that when you hear about these federal crimes and everything, and people hear about the federal government, but people don't think about the state government. So the state is going to have a chance at them too. That's bananas. Okay. So yeah. So what are the lessons behind this? Okay. The first thing is, please do not lie on any federal form, a loan form, your tax return, all of that, because you signed those under penalty of perjury. Perjury is a felony. Okay. And then, don't try to get money that you're not entitled to. And we saw this with the PPP and the EIDL just recently during COVID, where there are people that were out here just going for, getting these 20 bands and all of that they really were not entitled to. So yeah, the crime was committed there. And you see the PPP loan, you see those prosecutions coming down. They're just like raindrops. And with the government extending the time to prosecute those to 10 years, there's going to be plenty more of them. Okay. So and also, while I'm on the PPP loan thing, the IRS counsel said that if you got PPP loan money fraudulently and you got that loan forgiven, you need to claim it as income. Okay. Because stolen money is taxable. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and share that with you guys. This is, like I said, very shocking to me. It's, and for them, it's pouring because their son just got in an accident too. By no means do I feel sorry for them, because they committed this crime. It's just that when you watch the show, he has his mother, and their youngest is like 16 years old. So imagine being a 16-year-old and you're going to be dang near 30 by the time your father gets out of prison. Like that's tough, right? So yeah, but that's the deal with the Chrisleys here. So Todd got 12 years, Julie got 7, and their accountant got 3. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and let me know your thoughts on this, because here's the thing. Whenever people are committing crimes, one of the things they use as justification, oh, well, so-and-so does it, or, rich people did it, or whatever, they don't get caught or whatever. Now that somebody rich has gotten caught and they're going to prison, how does that change your mind about doing fraudulent stuff? Like, I just don't have that. Orange is not the new black. I like my freedom. I'm just going to write my check and keep it moving. And, it is what it is. All right. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next time. Bye.